Hey everybody, it's Louis Fernandez here with another video. I'm here with Tony Thomas. No introduction necessary. This dude's been 10 years in the game. He was my first mentor. Very important to me. Happy, super excited to have him here. I've actually been waiting all week to do this video. Very excited to do it. Thanks for coming, Tony. Appreciate
No problem.
it.
No
Absolutely.
problem.
Thank you, buddy. So again, like I said, this is my first mentor when I was getting my license, taking the classes. This guy right here took me under his wing, taught me a lot of things. Basically, Tony, I want to ask you some questions about mentorship, leadership, but I want to just in the beginning of this interview, I want to focus more towards mentorship and how important is mentorship to an upcoming agent or somebody thinking about getting into real estate. I know for me, one of the most important things that I've learned from Tony, I learned about I learned a lot, but the three top things that I learned from him was hustle. His hustle was, man, the times he used to get up in the morning, I couldn't believe it. And I thought I was getting up early until I asked him one day, how early do you get up? And then I was like, oh, I'm not doing what I need to do. And the second thing I learned from him is he always had an idea of how to solve a problem. He always, no matter what the issue was, if I said, Tony, man, I can't figure this out, what should I do? Or how can I get more listings? Or how can I, get more responses to cold calling or door knocking? This guy always had, man, at least 3-4 ideas off the top of his head to say, try this, try this, try this. And I always thought that was amazing that you always had like 3-4 on deck for me to try. So that was important. And then the third important thing that I really admired and learned from him and took away from my time with Tony, because I had about 4 mentors during my 2-year period. It was Tony Thomas, Stacy Raffensberger, Lee Garland, and now Josh Jackson. But from my time with Tony, the last thing that was really important that I took from him was when he was with you on a one-on-one, wherever it was, you was in the room with him and he was mentoring you or talking to you, he always made you feel like you was the most important thing to him. He would answer his phones. He wouldn't be distracted by anything else. And I thought that was awesome, especially being the busy guy that he is, that he would take his time out, whatever time frame that was, and really dedicate it to you and make you feel absolutely important. So, one, I want to thank you for that. And two, I want to ask you, so what do you think is how important is it to have a mentor when it comes to real estate?
It's probably one of the most important things that you can do. It's not to say that if you don't, that you won't be successful, but why reinvent the wheel? And particularly, there's a lot of people who are out there that's in the industry that feel like a lot of the things that they went through wasn't just for them to go through it, but for them to be able to share with others so they don't have to go through it. And I think that's kind of my mentality. I think that's probably one of the things that most people don't do when they get into business, but it's probably the best thing that they could do.
Get the mentor.
Get the mentors. And at every stage of the game, because like you said, I'm 10 years in, I still have mentors.
Right.
And they change. So you always want to make sure you have a mentor.
Right. That's really important. Wow. So to hear him say he's 10 years in and he still has mentors, just kind of gives you the idea of how this works. Things aren't overnight, and you need guidance, no matter where, like he said, what level you're at. So when it comes to being a mentor to somebody, and I know you've been doing this for a while, you've been mentoring people. You've mentored quite a lot of people, I would think, right? Yeah. What do you think is most important when somebody's out there looking to get into real estate to look for in a mentor?
So when you're looking for a mentor, the first thing is to try to look at somebody who you kind of want to be like an idol, You know, you see their lifestyle. You want to not to necessarily have what they have, but more lifestyle. Like, how is that person living? Is that how I want to live? And then when you've found a few individuals that like that, go up to them, talk to them, get to learn a little bit about them, and to see if that's what you really want. Because sometimes you see things and it's not what you think it is. So having a conversation to break it down. But it should be somebody who is living that lifestyle that you want to live. And that's kind of who, how you should approach it first. And then from talking to them, see who fits your personality the most. And it's not always going to be the person who matches up exactly to your personality, but they should be a person who is approachable and easy for you to talk to, but they're going to also be strong enough to tell you what you don't want to hear. Because I've had mentors, and my best mentors are the ones that have literally told me, like, get your stuff together, or like you're doing it completely wrong, you need to stop. And those mentors are like my best mentors that I've ever had. So you really should seek somebody out that will tell you that kind of stuff, not just want to be a friend all the time.
Right, absolutely. So somebody that's gonna, tell you what you need to be told, and not, baby you. Basically.
Not at all. I remember when we first talked, I wanted you on my team. I really wanted you on my team. But after having some conversations and then speaking to my wife, who's my partner, she was like, he doesn't need to be on the team. And I couldn't understand it. My wife and partner, she was like, he shouldn't be on the team. And I couldn't figure out, like, man, he has all the components. Like, this guy's gonna be it. She was like, no. She was like, he's a rocket. Like, you can only help him with so much. She was like, but there's so much that he needs to learn. And if you are there to help him the whole time, he probably won't learn it. There's a certain amount, like your trajectory had a pain trajectory to it. Like, you gotta go through something to be where you're going. Like, it's very rare that somebody starts on a team, builds up a business, leaves the team, do their own thing, and just go really build something dynamic without having to go through some kind of real hard struggle. So it was kind of this thing where we had to have this insight where we were kind of like, I can help you as much as I can, but sometimes I can't help you because you just have to learn it on your own. And that's a little tough to deal with and to say, man, listen, just go through it. Trust me, it's gonna be okay on the other side. It's gonna be okay on the other side. Some people can't handle that, and they may be perfect to work in that scenario. But as far as a mentor, you definitely have to be able to say, this isn't what you need to be doing, or I'm gonna tell you something you don't want to hear. And a good person, a good mentee accepts it, doesn't look anything further into it other than they have my best interest in heart, so they're not telling me to do something for any other reason other than they're trying to protect me or help me. So I have to kind of do it. And that's a great relationship to have. That's the best kind of relationship to have.
So that's kind of like how it turned out with me and you. I mean, that happened. I mean, at the time when it was going, it was a little disappointing, but when, I trusted your advice,
And you did what I would tell you to do, even if it was crazy. Or like when I would say, like, I could see sometimes where you would be like, man, this is really tough. And I had to look beyond that and be like, dude, you gonna make it. Like, just hold on. And you did.
Yeah, it was tough.
You did. But you're so much better for it, though. You're so much better for it. I had that pain when I was starting. I had to go through that pain. Terrible pain. Lost some things along the way. But it's made me so much better as a business person, and as a mentor, because you can relate to the pain that the people are going through, and you'll have that. So, and you'll attract a certain kind of person because of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about leadership. When it comes to mentorship, can you give me what is your hardest, let me say, thing that you to overcome, or what do you struggle with the most with mentoring people, and also what do you benefit the most from mentoring people?
I struggle the most with getting people to see past the current situation and to see their potential and the greatness that's in them. That's real hard. Sometimes I find myself wanting things for people more than they want it for themselves. That's when I get a little overzealous. And it just frustrates me to see. It's like, man, you are not seeing what I'm seeing here. Like, you have great opportunity, great potential. You're willing to put in the work. It just takes a little bit of time, but they see it completely different. And that's frustrating.
I'm starting to suffer from what you're talking about right now.
It's completely frustrating. You know, it's frustrating. That's I think the hardest part. The good part about mentoring is when you see other people do well. You see people improve their lives, they improve their situation. You start to see the light bulbs click when it happens. I like seeing other people have success. I really do.
It's a personal gratification.
It is. Because again, it makes the suffering or the pain or the things that I had to find out the hard way, it makes it worth something.
Right.
You know, if I kept it all to myself, it'd just be this one thing. But to be able to share it with other people, that just really makes me feel good. So.
Right, and the money's great. Everybody wants money. We all strive to make money, but you know, in my opinion, there's got to be things in what you do outside of just money. I'm not gonna bullshit anybody and act like we don't do this for money. But at the same time, to have longevity in anything, there has to be aspects of it that give you personal gratification outside of the reward of money. And like you're saying, that gives you a personal gratification to see people that you mentor change people's lives, change their families' lives, and you see things that you taught them put into action. I could definitely understand that.
I think for me, like when it comes to the money, I look more like the money isn't in the mentorship or the coaching or having team members. The money for me is I'm like big picture dude. So I don't have all the ideas. I've run across some people with phenomenal ideas. And what I tell them is like, use real estate to fund your ideas because you can make good money quickly and you can take that money and put it into other projects. Now, a lot of people put it back into real estate, whether they be flipping or buying rental properties or development or all different kind of things. That's cool. But there's some people with some real good ideas. So what I'm looking at is like, okay, if I can mentor like 10 to 15 dynamic individuals over like the next 10 years, and I'm stockpiling my capital because we have a relationship, like, I want to be to the point where you like, Tom, I'm going to open up like a brokerage down in South Florida and do this and that. I want to be like, you investor? Because I want to put some money there and let that grow with the people who I know have earned their stripes and they're going on to the bigger, better things. So I want to be a part of that. I want to be partners with the people that I mentor. And I know it's going to take them a little bit to get there, but like I said, in the next 10 years, if I can cultivate that and have my capital where it needs to be, then I know together everybody can go just to this like tremendous level. So that's really my end game when it comes to the money.
I learn something new every time I talk to this guy, even on the interview. Like, it always blows my mind. But yeah, I mean, that makes absolute perfect sense that you put it like that. That's awesome. So when it comes to leadership, because obviously you have a team, so you're a leader in your team, and you've led a bunch of people when you came to mentoring and everything. What makes a good leader?
I think number one, you had to have been through some tough things because otherwise you're not relatable to people. And I think people just need to be relatable. Like I never try to put myself too far out there So that, because I don't want people to think like, Tony did this, I could never do that. Like, I want to be to a point where like, I can do it. Like, we're not you can do it. We're not different, really. So I think, but you have to have gone through some things to know what other people are going through so that you can really, really help them through those areas, particularly in real estate. I think just being able to listen and figure out what people have going on. I think having them at the center of what you're trying to do, because what they're trying to do, like it's never about me. It's about me helping you get to where you want to go. Even when it's those tough talks or when you're not on track, whatever, I can always pull you back to what you said you wanted to do. Like, I'm not trying to get you to go knock on some extra doors because I'm saying that's what you should do. You should knock on extra doors because you said you wanted 2 extra sales this month. So you got to do a little bit more. So I think keeping what they said and what their vision is at the center of where your relationship is, I think that's good. But I think listening, having gone through some things, willing to share it, and then I think those are like the key points to leadership.
Right. So keeping people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Keeping calm, keeping them motivated. Like people are going to mirror you.
Right.
So you always have to make sure that. I'm not saying you on point always have to be perfect, because sometimes they need to see that this isn't a perfect thing. But you do have to keep calm and keep encouraged, because if you're not, they're going to be, everybody behind you going to be like, man, this is crazy, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's very true. I know with you, when you were mentoring me, and I mean, you still currently slightly mentor me. I call you every now and then when I need.
If I see someone say something.
And he does call me out when he sees me do mistakes all the time on social media.
Hey, look.
I think all my mentors do that, but I'm a little bit, like you said, I guess I'm a little bit of a, not a loose cannon, but I'm the type to do first, ask questions later, which can be sometimes not always the best thing, but I mean, 32 years in life has got me this far.
That's part of it.
But he is very, very calm. Like, no matter what the pressure is and the situation is, I've never seen Tony lose his cool. Like, he's always very mellow and cool. And I've learned that. I've been trying to put it into practice, because I'm not like that. I could flip out, So I've been, when I first started, I watched you do it, and now that I'm maturing in my career and I'm reading, because you read, I read, and learning from leadership books and things of that nature. I'm like, a good leader needs to be able to keep his cool under all circumstances, because everybody's looking to you to, lead them. So now I've been putting that into practice, and I've been seeing some improvements, and I'm happy that I'm doing a personal improvement, because that's not just business, that's also in personal life. So I think that's absolutely right what you said about being a leader. And one other question I want to ask you about being a leader, and I just recently watched another YouTube video of an interview with somebody, but they had said, they had asked the person, so when it comes to getting close to people, like when you're a leader, is there a fine line with that? And then if you're not close to them, it's kind of like a bad thing also. So it's kind of like that balance. How do you handle that?
Well, it is kind of true, but for me, I kind of have it easy, because I mentioned my wife is my partner.
Right.
Not complete opposite of me, but her style is completely different from me. So I can be lovey and huggy and give you, let's go. You can do it, buddy. Right. I can be that, and my wife can be like, you know what? You didn't do this. You didn't do this. You didn't. What's going on? Right. So I have the luxury of having that partner. And she could be kind of like an alter ego, so the people on the team kind of know, like, you want to get it from one direction or the other. They don't want to see her, so they're going to make sure they get it done with me. As an individual, it's going to be like just your style. And I think your style, your personality attracts certain kinds of people. So the thing that you have to realize is that everybody isn't compatible to you and your style. So you're going to find your tribe. There's some people who will take how you give what you give and how you run things and absolutely love it. And there'll be people who are completely turned off by that. And my what I used to do was think something was wrong with me because people were turned off by my style or turned off by like how my wife did things.
Mhm.
Now I'm like, you know what, it is what it is. This is how we do it. And we can't help everybody. So, you know, you do have to say what needs to be said, and you can say it in your own way, but part of that goes to the individual that you're leading to. They have to be able to receive it. So
Right. So it's a two-way street.
it's a two-way street. It doesn't all fall on the leader. Because if you start to change a little bit with if you go too far from your style, then you're not being you, and it's going to be phony and fake anyway. So you got to kind of stay who you are a little bit too.
Gotcha.
Doesn't mean you can't grow, but you know.
Gotcha. So, in your 10 years of real estate, you do real estate in York, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
You also do real estate in Maryland,
Maryland, D.C.,
DC,
Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. This
Mhm.
guy's, he's everywhere. So, in 10 years of real estate, what is the biggest thing you've learned 10 years in doing real estate in 3 states?
Well, if we're talking about real estate,
Yeah, the business.
just as a business,
The business.
the number one thing I think that I learned was real estate is the ultimate one-on-one sport. Like, it's the ultimate one-on-one sport, really. I've never been involved in anything that has made me look at me more than real estate has. You know, when you have problems in your business, you have to look at what are you doing. You have problems on your team, what am I doing? Even when the market shifts or changes down, what am I doing? Like you always go, most of your problems that you have in real estate almost always come back to what you doing. And then when you figure out like what you're doing, then it's like, why am I doing that? Like, why am I doing that? Like, you know, and you just have to do a lot of soul searching.
A lot. A lot.
I've never been in anything that's made, like, church hasn't even made me like look inward as much as real estate has.
I can agree from my short time. I mean, it makes you have to change, or you got to go find another thing to do in life. Because
Absolutely.
You're not going to make it if you can't change.
Absolutely.
And it gets personal.
The ones
it
who
gets real
succeed
personal.
do that the best.
Right.
Even if they say, this is who I am and I know I'm a train wreck, but I'm going to be a train wreck till I fall off the track. Even that person does well. You know what I mean? But you sometimes people don't want to look at themselves as being a problem, and that is a problem.
Very, very true. And I've known that from my own experience that's very, very true. So 10 years in, that's the biggest thing. So when you look back in your 10-year career, what are you the most proud of the 10 years so far? 10 years.
What am I most proud of? I'm proud of not quitting. I'm proud of not quitting.
Yes.
And
I understand that.
I'm proud of always overcoming. There's people who said like I couldn't do something, or what I was doing wouldn't work, or I wasn't ready, and I've always like done it anyway, and it worked. So that, you know, that for me is I'm proud of that, because I literally started. I think if you could go back in time and say, when did that last recession hit, when the market stopped? Like, if you could pinpoint a day that the market was dead, I literally started that very next day in real estate. I had to have, because it was really, really tough.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it. Like, I just thought that's how real estate was, because I'd never done it before. So people, like, it was years when people were like, nah, like, what just happened normally doesn't happen. I was like, oh, really? Like, they know. And they're like, you survived that. I was like, now I look back when I was like, whew, I survived that. So I think I'm proud of that the most.
To give you strength, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that
business wise.
Yeah, I think surviving that, and I think number one B would be being president of the association.
Oh,
I was really proud of that.
Yeah.
That was
2018, right?
2016.
Oh, 2016.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry.
that was I think it was 2016.
Okay.
That was a major thing for me. So I'm proud of that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, would you say a lot of what you're talking about not only applies to real estate, like you said, it's tough, and you're proud of not quitting, and the things that you learned and stuff? Would you say that's entrepreneurship? Period. Like a one-on-one sport, like the way you put that. Would you say that not only does it apply to anybody looking to get into real estate or be a real estate agent, but any type of entrepreneurship?
I think that's the reason why I said that. It's just the struggles of being an entrepreneur. But I mean, and I might be saying this just because I'm an entrepreneur in real estate, but I think real estate's tougher. Like I think there's like it's a little bit different from other industries because you're doing everything. Like if I was just selling, like a clothing store or something, they have their own certain things that they got to deal with. But I think real estate has our own certain things to deal with, plus things in general that you have to deal with, just taxes, advertising, marketing, budgeting, customer service, professionalism, like just everything. You're doing everything, contracts, like really, if you're in retail, you're really not doing contracts. We're doing contracts
and we're selling.
But you can't cross the line and give legal advice. We deal with contracts all day, but can't give legal. So it's fine lines and gray areas, and this is real tough. Real tough. So
it is very tough.
But that's the struggle of the entrepreneur, though.
Right. Absolutely. So my last question to you regarding real estate is, so being a minority in real estate, we both are. So in your 10 years experience and you run a team, and so what is your opinion about being a minority in real estate? For anybody out there that might be watching this and see, hey, look, there's a Spanish guy, there's a black guy there, and they're real estate agents, and they're doing well. So what would you say to anybody out there? Is it tough? Is it not? Are they making it more tough mentally than it actually is, or is it a reality? How do you feel? What's your opinion when it comes to that?
So I think number one, particularly in this area, you need more diversity in the industry. In the industry as a whole, we need more diversity. It's not a hot topic, but everybody sees, and I've been all over the country, and diversity is a topic that gets talked about a lot. In this area, it is. As an African American, I remember when I started 10 years ago, I could probably name, maybe there was 1,000 realtors. I couldn't probably name 10 African American or Hispanic realtors out of the 1,000 when I started. It doesn't mean that they weren't there, but active everyday full-time realtors, I couldn't name 10. I'm so excited that here we are 10 years later, and that number has increased dramatically. But still, I don't even think it's 10% of the realtor population. So I think we can make more improvements in that. So that's the first thing. Second thing is you do have to have the right mindset about it, because if you allow that to enter your psyche, it can defeat you. And I wasn't going to let it defeat me. My thing was, when I looked and I saw realtors of color really wasn't doing significant numbers of sales per year. And I was like, I'm not going to do this and not have significant number of sales. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to make an impact. And so I think I had that mentality, and I went out and did it, and I found a way. You just gotta find a way. You gotta find your people. You gotta find your tribe, and make it work. Not to say the stuff doesn't exist out there. You know, I've had the cops called on me like 5 times just from door knocking. Maybe not 5, like at least 3 times just from like, there's a black guy knocking on doors in the neighborhood. Like, what was it doing? I'm like, I have an open house or something. Like, I'm not really doing anything. So I mean, you have little experiences like that, but you can't let any of that stop you.
I mean, they're not like, for me. I've done a lot of door knocking too, and I have my stories. But I mean, the majority of the time, it's not all the time. I mean, but it happens. You know, it has happened. But like you said, it's not. Yeah, it's not frequently. You know, so I can't say that. You can't let it discourage you.
No, you got a job to do. I'm gonna do my job. I'm not gonna let anything stop me. I'm not gonna let any mindset or mentality stop me. And the more of us in the industry, the more it becomes commonplace. There's not this, you know, you do what again? Like it's you don't get that. But that's a little specific to this neighborhood, this area, because down in Maryland and DC and Northern Virginia, like, it's not a problem at all. No. Not at all. So it's just a combination of where you at, but you still have to make it happen. You that's one of the many things in real estate that can stop you.
Right.
And if you're gonna overcome, there's other things that are harder to overcome than that. So I would never let that stop me, but I think we are definitely moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
I really, really love it.
Absolutely. I know my opinion of it. I noticed that in this area, being, you know, a person of color doing real estate, it is kind of tougher out the gate. But once you get your credibility up, and kind of like have a track record, then that kind of like, you know, kind of goes. It becomes easier. I guess they could see past certain things after, you know, they see, oh, you actually do know what you're doing, and you're actually on Zillow, and you actually have reviews, and you're actually selling stuff. So I mean, and to say that, that's probably any realtor's problem, regardless of your racial background. But I do notice that, you know, for us, it in this area, it is out the gate harder.
It is, and you know, you touched on something that you know. So in 10 years, technology is just expanded. I mean, when I came in, technology was here, and we had like a lot of things we have today. But 10 years from when I started is like phenomenal. It's so much easier, like you said, to say, look me up, do your research. You'll find that I'm like the real deal. You know, I get things done. I work hard, and here's the proof. Before you didn't have that proof.
10 years when you first started, that wasn't
the case. You couldn't say just like, look me up on Zillow, because Zillow really wasn't really doing reviews 10 years ago, and you know, I wasn't from the area, which was another thing. I had more of not being from the area than I did my race. I had more of that because people just didn't know me. Yeah. So you have to insert yourself into what's going on in the community so people get to know you, which is another thing. We talk about real estate. That's a thing that most realtors just don't like. You selling real estate, you need to, you know, say, well, give me a database. How many people in your database? Oh, maybe about 50. So you only know about 50 people, and you want to sell how many homes a year? Well, I'm going to sell maybe like 20 homes. Okay. What do? Do you go out? Do you network? No, I'm a home person. Well, how do you want to meet people? Like, you got to be out and about doing stuff, happy hours, birthday parties, networking events, coffee shop, talking to people. Like, if you're not even out and about, you can't meet the people that you need. So you're going to fail in your business because you don't know enough people. And that's what it's about. So just if you get to know enough people, and then you begin to create a track record, a lot of those things just go away. It really does.
Right. I agree. So to wrap this up, is there any advice that you would give anybody looking to get into real estate? Any new agents out there that is new to the business, or any seasoned agent that's looking, they're struggling and they're looking to do better in their business and do more sales? Well, being a veteran, doing very well for yourself, selling in 3 states, has a team, is telling your advice is very credible.
I would say put the work in. That's what I see is missing the most. People do not put the work in, and real estate can be very deceiving because you can be busy and not really working. You can be doing stuff that's not making you money. It's funny because you gotta watch people like you, who I think what you do is very good because you're given a real time progression of your career. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are just telling you what they do now. They don't tell you how they got there, but they can see it play out. And one of the things that you said in maybe one of your first videos, you said, listen, I was a full-time realtor. I'm knocking on doors. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And 3-4 months in, I'm still not seeing anything. And then you took a step back and you came back in and you said you kind of doubled everything that you were doing the first time. So you were knocking on 250 doors. Second time around, you're knocking on 500 doors. I don't think that people understand the amount of effort, especially to get it going. So if you're new to the business or your business has stalled, they underestimate the amount of effort that it takes to get back up and running again. Because if they did, so it's like if you're a realtor who was doing great and fell back, if you really understood how hard it was to get off again, you would never fall back because you know how hard it is to get things up and running again. So the amount of work that you think you do, you probably should be doubling the amount of work that you're doing right now. I guarantee you. And it doesn't mean that you're going to double your production. Doubling your work may only give you a 25% increase in your business. But it's an incredible amount of work, and people they're not willing to do it. So that's why, when we work together and we do challenges and all this other stuff, you put out a thing on Facebook, I'm the hardest working realtor. I was like, you're not going to outwork me. I sent them a private message. You're not going to outwork me, because it fired me up. It fired me up because I know the amount of work that you put out, and I was like, man, he probably working really hard, and I'm not working as hard as he working. I got to get back into that zone where I'm going higher and higher. So we used to do door knocking challenges, and we come in. And he'd be like, yeah, I did 250 door knocks. And then
with Terry Harmon.
Terry come in I did 480.
What?
I'm like,
Terry, how did you
find
time for that?
480 doors. And then the next week we'd come back and we'd be like, oh yeah, I did 525, Terry. And she's like, I had a rough week. But
that's true.
Even in doing those challenges,
shout out to Terry.
Shout out to Terry Harmon, door knocking queen. But doing that, doing phone calls, all that other stuff, those top producers are still in the trenches out working everybody. Their work ethic is insane. So I think for me, if I'm going to give any advice, is to take what you're currently doing and double it. Figure out a way, because you're probably wasting some time somewhere, so you can get tighter on your schedule and focus more on stuff that's going to make you more money.
Right. Excellent. Thank you for the advice. Tony Thomas, thank you for joining me to do this video.
No problem.
Tell them where they can find you. Tell them what's your Instagram and your website, everything.
So let me see. My Instagram, that's the one I do the most, is Tony, Tony, Bmore, Bmore, DC. Tony Baltimore DC, but it's Tony B Moore DC. Or you can email me at tony@trgmoves.com. TRG Moves. Tony@trgmoves.com. Those are probably the best two places to find me.
And you do real estate in York, Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
down in Maryland, DC area,
Mm-hmm.
and Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. I'm doing coaching now.
Oh,
I got a guy in Baltimore. I'm coaching. Started working with him in January. He's #1 realtor in his office in Baltimore.
nice.
So I'm moving more into, like you said, helping people solve their problems. But know that when we talk, I'm just gonna hold a mirror up to you and say, look at yourself in the mirror, tell me what you're doing wrong.
Right.
But sometimes you gotta talk that out.
Right.
You gotta work that out.
Right.
So yeah.
So that's where to find Tony if you need, any coaching, if you need any real estate needs in those areas, you have his information, you can reach him. And I thank everybody that watched this video. It was a great interview. Keep watching, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, like the video, it helps me out a lot. I'm gonna keep doing more interview videos this is my first mentor, and he helped me out so much. And I looked up to this guy from, when I first, this was the guy I wanted to be like when I first got into real estate, and he challenged me to a high level, and I thank him for that because it got me where I am right now, which isn't huge, but it just shows you the amount of work it takes to get to those levels.
It's just a path. You have always been on a path, and where you are is just where you are. I know where you're going, and it just takes a little more time to get there and for you to build and put some things in place. But you're gonna be there, and I love the fact that you have a chronicle of day one. I remember you were doing videos from when you first passed your exam.
No, I've been doing videos when I was in the classes.
In the classes. See, that's something, you don't see that. And I think if you're creating a library.
Right.
You literally are creating a library with people I can see on YouTube. You're going to have playlists, and it'll be year 1, year 2, year 3. And people should be able to follow you and just say, whatever he did year 1, I'm going to do year 1. Whatever he did year 2, I'm going to do year 2. That's something that's special and unique. You don't see it in the industry. And mark my words, the first one that's doing this is going to be big. And with you 3 years in, 7 more years.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. And that came also to, he also encouraged me to do that when we first sat down. And I had brought up the idea, and he said, yeah, that's absolutely, I'm all for it. And then I did it. So here we are, 2 years and 3 months later, and I actually did it. So, hopefully that comes back to help me out in the future. But thanks, Tony, for coming. I really appreciate it, buddy.
No problem, man.
Like I said, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, Instagram, go to the YouTube, subscribe, find Tony. He's a great mentor. If you need any advice, follow him on Instagram. If you need any real estate needs in any of those areas, York, Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC area, this is the guy you want to talk to. All right, guys? So I wish you luck, I wish you success, and I wish you good health. Bye-bye, guys.